At the end of JJK 0, the sound cuts out when Gojo whispers something to Geto before killing him off. The phrase he said was, "You are my best friend, my one and only." The entire JJK series was only supposed to be a 4-chapter one-shot at first. It was never meant to be a series, but it became so popular the creator changed his mind. The one-shot became the JJK 0 movie we know today and serves as a prequel to the main story. The creator goes by the pen name Gege Akutami. They chose Akutami because it sounds close to the word garbage, which is akuta. His gender is shrouded in mystery, but believed to be male. The end frame of the first season's opening goes back to the same opening frame. This is deliberate because the Kai in Jujutsu Kaisen means cycle or coming back around. The fish swimming in the JJK opening is thought to represent Yuji's character and is a juvenile angel emperor fish. These fish grow up to eat jellyfish. Not coincidentally, Junpei Shikigami is a jellyfish. This same fish is around for both Season 1, Season 2's opening, and shown next to Rika during her visit to the aquarium. Gege felt that he hadn't spent enough time on Junpei in the manga. In the anime, he requested MAPPA to add original scenes showing Junpei's kindness. Gakuganji shocked us all with his inner rocker performing curse techniques with his guitar. According to his profile, he's looking for a drummer. I guess he's looking to form a band. In this case, I recommend Whitebeard and Netero. Together, they'll be the baddest elderly boy group anime has ever seen. Mahito got his famous quote about souls directly from the Earthworm Man movie, which he watched in the cinemas in Season 1. He really liked Perry the Platypus from the animated series Phineas and Ferb. That's why he made Junpei like that. If you're wondering, yes, this is canon. In episode 13, when Mahito transforms into a child, this is his true form because the sorcerer said in a previous episode that this curse behaves like a child. Gege was a big fan of the cursed family portrait he drew, but later realized cursed spirits can appear in photographs, so it doesn't actually make sense. Jogo's gorgeous black teeth were inspired by a real-life thing called ohaguro, teeth blackening practiced in Japan. It was a sign of beauty back in the Heian period. I guess Jogo would have been the most beautiful concubine back in the day. Hanami's voice effect was done by their voice actor speaking the lines in Japanese, then playing the lines in reverse. This is actually what Tengen originally looks like before she turned into that sexy thumb. Yes, we all assumed she's a guy. But her gender is finally confirmed by Gege's sketch. The biggest drinkers in the JJK universe are 1. Shoko and 2. Nanami. In chapter 220, one of the panels showed Shoko saying, "I was in love with one of you," towards Geto and Gojo. But this was a mistranslation from Japanese to English. She's not in love with them. Shoko semi-cheated to get where she is today as Tokyo Jujutsu High's doctor. Just 2 years after graduating, she earned her doctor's license. She didn't cheat on the national exam itself, but she did lie about her eligibility so she could take the exam. In Chapter 50, we find out that Nanami was the previous record holder of consecutive black flashes with 4 in a row. According to the fan book, he achieved this during the night parade of 100 demons in Kyoto. The animation team made sure to animate this scene during JJK 0 since it was never shown previously. Apparently, Megumi has never laughed so hard that he cried. But we see Megumi facing off against the Finger Bearer in Season 1, having a great time, meaning we're witnessing the very first time in his entire life that he just laughed out loud. After his parents disappeared, when the bills started to pile up, it was Gojo who stepped in and settled the debts before the small amount of money left to the two kids by their mother ran out. Mai's first love was none other than Megumi. He cares about his Shikigami immensely. Whenever they're destroyed, he grieves. In fact, losing a Shikigami depresses him more deeply than losing a person would. In the manga, there are some things Gege draws differently every time. For example, the length of Maki's ponytail and the shape of Nobara's hammer. Nobara's reddish-brown hair is dyed. Her natural color is actually dark brown. Gege created Nobara's character with the idea of someone who knows exactly who they are completely true to themselves, and unwilling to compromise their ideals. He felt that this would contrast well with Megumi and Yuji. Gege is slightly colorblind, hence Yuji's hair color slightly differs on different covers, sometimes brown, sometimes pink. Shingo Yamashita is the guy responsible for the stunning Season 1 and 2 JJK openings. Even before JJK was anywhere close to being an anime, Gege went up to him at an event and gifted him Volume 1 and 2 for him to read and said if the series ever got an anime adaptation, he specifically wants him to animate the openings. 2 years later, MAPPA called Yamashita requesting exactly this. He just had to accept. The hardest scene to animate in the first opening is this scene of a bubble bursting. A real bubble usually pops from the top down, but here it pops from the bottom up, meaning everything is hand-drawn as you cannot find this reference in the real world. Jujutsu Kaisen won the Best Anime of Winter 2021 over Attack on Titan Season 4, the final season. That's saying something. Naobito Zenin's character was based on Salvador Dali in terms of appearance. Apparently his hobby is watching anime. At 71 years old, despite his proper exterior, we can assume he's a true weeb on the inside. The JJK world is like an alternate reality that is the exact same as our real world when the story started in 2018. Aside from curses, jujutsu sorcerers, and COVID. History, and along with anything that existed in 2018, is basically canon to the JJK universe. Hence, animes that we know exist within the JJK world. There are multiple references to Bleach, Naruto, Yu Yu Hakusho, and Digimon in the story. The jujutsu schools teach the students more than just curse techniques, but also physics and science. Because in their world, cursed energy and spirits are not magic, but a natural and physical law. Most of the locations shown in the first season's opening are real-life locations in Japan. As a child, Toji got thrown into a disciplinary pit of cursed spirits by the Zenin family, which is how he got the scar on his lip. Gege uses a one-eyed cat persona online to represent him. There's also a one-eyed cat in the JJK opening, which fans have said represented the author himself. Back in 2015, after the release of their one-shot, number 9, Gege drew a woman taking off the cat costume to illustrate themselves, which led to more speculation on their gender. Fan service is normally included in mangas to keep fans engaged, but Gege mentioned his parents read the manga, so he would be too embarrassed to include that in JJK. But wait, I think he did. His favorite character is Nanami. If Gege had stuck to his original idea, Nanami was going to be a villain who worked for a shady company, who one day loses his mind and kills everyone. His least favorite character is Gojo, which has sort of been a long-running joke in the community. He posted this when Gojo was finally sealed in the manga. Plus, he asked people not to vote for him in the popularity polls. During an interview with JJK's current editor, Katayama, when asked if Gege is like any of the characters in person, he replied that they think Gege is the most similar to Gojo. Why? Because they are both apparently cheery and cool. Cheery, but super duper smart. While working on JJK 0, Gege and his original editor did not get along due to creative differences. He was replaced after the first chapter. His ex-editor pushed for many changes, like wanting Rika to be replaced by a darker, well-known individual like the real-life historical figure Oda Nobunaga. We're so glad Gege didn't listen to him. Not sure if Gege was taking a jab at his ex-editor here, but according to him, Nobara's ideal type of guy is Oda Nobunaga. To appease his ex-editor, Gege made Gojo have a real-life historical figure as his ancestor. Who is Michizane Sugawara? A real Japanese scholar and politician during the Heian period. Gojo and Yuta share the same ancestor. Sukuna is based off an actual mythological tale told in the Nihon Shoki, known as the Chronicles of Japan, written by the imperial family in the Nara period. The mighty being goes by the same name, Ryomen Sukuna, and apparently had 2 faces, 4 arms, and 2 pairs of legs. He was called a natural calamity. Orame has been with Sukuna from 1,000 years ago. They were allowed to stand beside him because they excel in cooking people well. In an extras featured in Shonen Jump, we see our fave trio dressed as Luffy, Nami, and Chopper. Arguing who's going to be captain, Megumi wins the argument by saying the ship's headpiece will be a dog if he wins, and so he wins. I'd love to see a future crossover with Panda as Beppo. Yaga is divorced. The relationship he has with Panda is like that of parent and child. He refers to him as his son. Even though he's a cursed corpse, Panda is paid as a regular Jujutsu sorcerer. The money he earns is transferred to Yaga, which he then gives to Panda as allowance. Nobody bothered to give Panda an actual name because there's only one Panda in the school. If anyone was wondering, Panda's fluffy hands indeed do work with touch screens. Apparently Panda does not poop. The nappy we saw on him when he was little was made by Yaga for him to wear simply because he looked cute in it. Jujutsu sorcerers have special bugs inserted into their stomachs for long-term missions when eating is difficult and bathroom breaks are hard to come by. When Gege was creating a cursed spirit based on a disease, he decided on smallpox because it is one of the only diseases that has been completely eradicated. So it won't be disrespectful to any potential victims of the disease because there aren't any left. Yuji's character is based on Gege's older brother, who he said is the complete opposite from him. Talented at everything, like sports. These traits are seen in Yuji. He later said in an interview that he doesn't think he will get along with Yuji in real life. If Yuji had not become a Jujutsu sorcerer, he would be a firefighter. Gege originally planned to kill Yuji after Sukuna ripped out his heart and was gonna shift the attention to Megumi. He changed his mind. Yuji first discovered his love for Jennifer Lawrence by watching the Silver Linings Playbook. Gege regretted not expanding more on Yuji and his grandfather's relationship in the manga in the beginning. This is why more time was allocated to this in the anime. Out of everyone's special skill in the fanbook, Ichiji's is Excel. Sukuna's fingers taste like soap. There's a bit of a debate online about whether Sukuna's markings are visible to the audience only or to others in the JJK world too. There's been numerous moments when people couldn't tell if it was Yuji or Sukuna and had to ask. In chapter 111, Jogo made a comment about the markings, so the current leading theory is that only cursed spirits can see the markings when they appear and not humans. The markings are mainly a visual aid for the audience to know when it's Yuji or Sukuna. My Hero Academia's author, Kohei Horikoshi, is a known fan of JJK and a friend of Gege. The two often did collabs. Gege was going through writer's block and imposter syndrome when he was writing what would become JJK 0. As he was so impressed with My Hero Academia, he was doubting whether he could create something good enough to stand beside it in the same magazine. The only time Gege was ever seen publicly was on Mondo Kobayashi TV when JJK won the 2020 Grand Prize winner. He went head-to-toe as Mekamaru. Gege's parents wouldn't buy him Shonen Jump when he was younger, so he sneaked a peek at his older brother's copy when he was out, which just so happened to be Bleach's first chapter. He wanted to become a mangaka after reading Bleach. Geto's character was made to contrast Gojo's, to show how Gojo was a natural-born prodigy, while Geto achieved his genius through hard work. To further that connection between them, Geto later wears a Gojo geisa, which is a specific type of Buddhist monk robe. Geto's Uzumaki technique is a direct reference to Junji Ito's popular horror manga series, not just in name, but also visual reference to one of the most famous panels from that manga. Geto was named after the Geto Kogas ski resort. No symbolism. Gege just liked the name. The guy has no disliked foods. I guess when you're constantly devouring on cursed spirits, which is like eating a rag drenched in vomit, anything will taste good in comparison. Apparently, Geto is even more popular with girls than Gojo. An official JJK stage play ran in summer 2022 at the Galaxy Theater in Tokyo. The play was so well received, it's coming back for a second run end of this year. They did a collab with Dolce & Gabbana. A JJK video game, Cursed Clash, a 2 vs 2 action combat game, will be released in early 2024. Rika's grandmother strongly believes Rika is responsible for both her parents' deaths. When she was 5, her mom suddenly died due to unknown causes. When she went hiking with her dad, the two of them got lost and only Rika was rescued. Her dad was never seen again. Rika and Yuta were the first two characters created and the only two that transitioned from the prototype to the JJK we know today. Yuta was originally supposed to be JJK's main character, but Gege ultimately decided on Yuji instead. Yuji survived Gojo's domain expansion when he was within it, because this effect does not affect the user or anyone they're touching with no intent to harm. Inumaki's rice ball ingredient speech is coded. Kelp is a general greeting. Salmon is used as a general word for affirmation, bonito flakes for negation, mustard leaf is showing concern, tuna mayo is to specify doing something, tuna is to get attention. Inumaki's hobby is watching YouTube videos, particularly mukbang videos. After the events of JJK 0, he now carries a spare bottle of throat medicine just in case. The first season's opening, Kai Kai Kitan, was written by Eve, who was already a fan of the manga to begin with. They reread the entire manga to influence their writing of the song. The ending of JJK has been decided. Gege has already decided on Yuji and Megumi's ending, but not Sukuna's. Gojo was sealed for 19 days in the manga, but time passes by differently inside Prison Realm, so no one knows how long it's really been for him. In our world, it's been 1,189 days. MAPPA animated both JJK and Attack on Titan and slipped in a little something, crossing over this little run from Nobara and Megumi to the Mindless Titans run. If you want an inside look at how MAPPA has created other blockbusters in the anime world, click on the next video.